Sometimes life surprises us when we least expect it. Sometimes kindness shows up not in the form of a grand gesture, but in two tiny voices, standing bravely in a doorway. And sometimes, what begins as disappointment becomes the moment that changes everything. This story begins with a woman sitting alone at a coffee shop, convinced her blind date had stood her up. But what happened next, when two little twin girls walked in wearing matching red jackets, would open her heart wider than she ever imagined. Before we begin, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and comment below. Your support helps our channel, Kindness Diaries, reach more hearts and more people who believe the world can be softer, kinder, and better. Now, let's begin our story. Her name was Emily, a 29-year-old nurse who hadn't been on a date in over a year. Life had worn her down. Between long night shifts, helping her younger sister through college, and trying to keep her own heart patched together after a messy breakup, dating simply wasn't something she had time for. But her friends insisted. They made her a profile. They talked her into saying yes. And now here she was, sitting alone at a cafe on a rainy Saturday morning, feeling more embarrassed each passing minute. Emily glanced at the clock on the wall. Her blind date, a guy named Daniel, was now 25 minutes late. She tried to shrug it off. Maybe he's stuck in traffic. Maybe something came up. But deep down, a familiar voice whispered, "Of course. You should have known. People don't show up for you." She stirred her coffee just to keep her hands busy. Couples chatted around her, the warm smell of espresso filling the air. Outside, raindrops streamed down the window like little rivers racing to the bottom. Her heart felt just as heavy. 10 more minutes passed. That was it. She grabbed her purse, sliding her chair back. She wasn't going to sit here and be humiliated any longer. That's when she heard it. Excuse me?" Two small voices, soft, unsure, but brave enough to speak. Emily turned, and froze. Standing side by side were two identical twin girls, maybe 5 or 6 years old. They had long brown curly hair, bright eyes, and matching red jackets that made them look like tiny superheroes. Their hands were clasped together as if gathering courage between them. The taller twin nudged the other. The smaller one took a breath. "Our daddy's sorry he's late," she said quietly. Emily blinked, completely confused. I'm sorry, what?" The taller twin stepped forward. "He told us to tell you he's almost here. He said he didn't want you to think he forgot." Emily's heart did a little jump, half relief, half shock. Her date, sent children to deliver the message? Before she could respond, the cafe door clattered behind the twins, and a tall man rushed in, clearly out of breath, his hair damp from the rain. "Girls. I told you to wait for me." His voice was a mix of panic and relief. Emily watched him quickly kneel beside the twins, resting his hands on their shoulders. "Are you Emily?" he asked, looking up with apologetic eyes. She nodded slowly. "Yes. And you must be Daniel." He winced like someone who knew he'd messed up. "I'm so sorry. I had a babysitter lined up last minute, but she cancelled while I was already on the road. My girls were panicking, and I couldn't just leave them alone, so I turned back to get them. I should have called, but my phone died on the way." He looked genuinely nervous, like a man who had been trying his best for far too long and was terrified of failing one more time. Emily glanced down at the twins. They looked up with hopeful smiles, as if silently asking her to forgive their dad. Emotion swelled inside her. "It's okay," she said softly. "Really. I'm just glad you're here." Daniel let out a breath of pure relief. He turned to the twins. "Say thank you." The girls spoke in unison, "Thank you, Emily," their tiny voices warm and sincere. Emily couldn't help smiling. Something in this moment, something about the honesty, the vulnerability, the raw realness, felt strangely comforting. Like maybe life didn't close a door today after all. Maybe it opened a new one. They all sat together. Daniel kept apologizing, but Emily waved it off. The twins quickly warmed to her, chatting about their favorite cartoons, their dog named Pickles, and how their dad made the best pancakes in the whole world. Daniel laughed. "They're terrible pancakes. I burn them every time. They're just too nice to say so." Emily felt the heaviness in her heart dissolving. The awkwardness faded. She found herself relaxing, even enjoying the unexpected turn of the morning. As minutes turned into an hour, Emily learned more about Daniel. He was a single dad. His wife had walked out when the twins were toddlers, leaving him to raise them alone. He worked construction, took care of the girls, and did his best to make their little world safe and happy. And yet, he didn't complain. Not once. He spoke with the kind of gentleness that came from strength, not weakness. Emily admired that more than she expected. At one point, the smaller twin leaned her head against Emily's arm. "Miss Emily, do you like Daddy?" Emily felt her cheeks warm. "I think your daddy is very kind." The girl beamed. "We think so too." Daniel looked embarrassed but thankful. They laughed, talked, and shared stories until the rain finally eased outside. Daniel checked the time and sighed. "I should get them home. They've got a birthday party to get ready for." The girls jumped up excitedly. "Cupcakes." Emily laughed. "Sounds like a fun day." Daniel helped the girls into their little jackets, then turned back to Emily with a more serious expression. "Thank you, for not walking out. I know today wasn't what you expected. But you were incredibly kind about it. And he paused, searching for the right words. "I really appreciate it." Emily stood, slowly gathering her purse. "To be honest, I almost did walk out. But then two little superheroes showed up in red jackets and saved the day." The twins giggled proudly. Daniel smiled, the kind of smile that carried gratitude and something else, hope. "Would you want to meet again?" he asked carefully. "I promise, no chaos next time. Or at least, less chaos." Emily thought for a moment. She looked at the twins, two sweet little girls who had bravely marched up to a stranger to deliver a message of honesty and responsibility. She looked at Daniel, a man trying to balance fatherhood, work, and the possibility of love all at once. And she felt something gentle inside her shift. "Yes," she said. "I'd like that." The twins squealed in excitement. Daniel looked relieved and touched all at once. As they were leaving, the smaller twin ran back to Emily, giving her a quick hug around the waist. "Daddy smiles more today," she whispered. "Thank you." Emily's throat tightened. She crouched down and hugged her back. "He deserves to smile." When they walked out into the soft light of the clearing rain, Emily stayed by the window and watched them cross the street, Daniel holding both girls' hands, their little red jackets bright against the gray pavement. Something warm spread through Emily's heart. She came to the cafe expecting disappointment. Instead, she found a reminder that kindness, simple, patient, everyday kindness, is what holds people together. It restores, rebuilds, and opens doors we didn't know we needed. And sometimes, kindness walks in wearing two matching jackets, with two brave little voices carrying a message of love. Emily left the cafe with a smile she hadn't worn in a long time. Not because her date had shown up. Not because it had gone perfectly. But because she felt something hopeful return to her, the belief that good people still existed, and that kindness still mattered. Maybe Daniel would become something more in her life. Maybe he wouldn't. But today's kindness, between strangers, between a father and his girls, between Emily and herself, was something she would carry forever. A few weeks later, they did meet again. And again. This time, with fewer interruptions and more laughter. Emily grew close to the